Anytime that you are transitioning into a new classroom and particularly a new school, always go ahead of time. Typically the very first day of school, it's so chaotic and all of the kids are running around, so it's extremely confusing for our kiddos. So if you go a week in advance, you're able to meet the teachers. They actually have time to talk to you. You can show your child their classroom, their locker, let them get acquainted with it, let them practice on their lockers, whatever they need to do.
Your child for early intervention is being served in natural environments. With the school system, though, they're transitioning into those school buildings, and that is a culture shock. So you have to have a lot of trust in the school system to be able to do that. But I think the more that you can go to workshops or conferences to gain that confidence, and I think that's really the biggest thing, is to gain the confidence that you have things to convey about your child. The school cannot possibly know all those things about your family, so you have to be the one to be able to be confident enough to go forward and tell the school that.
The one thing that I think is so very, very important for any transition, the thing is to start early. You want to know, if you know that transition's coming, you want to start early. You want to ask a lot of questions, find out all you can, and you want to know what your options are. So you want to really study that.
Well, when your child transitions from early intervention to public schools, the key to anything, to a better education, is probably communication with the teachers and the staff that take care of your child. I use a form that was developed by the Center for Learning and Leadership in Oklahoma Family Network. And the form is how my day went. It's easy for the teachers to use and the staff. And it's written in first person, like I ate, I played. So you know exactly how your kid spent the day at the school. This is a lifesaver. I mean, it was the best thing that can happen, because I was very anxious. I mean, it's your child and it's going away from 8 hours. So I think this is one of the best tips I can provide to parents.
One of the most important things I think in preparing for a child's IEP is we always request the proposed goals from his teachers and his therapist prior to, so we have time to review those goals and make any comments or suggestions that we have, and just to make sure that we're all on the same page. Another thing that we always do for my son, for his IEPs, is we prepare a one-pager. It's just real simple. It's just, like 3 or 4 paragraphs, just talking a little bit about his medical diagnosis, kind of how we got to where we are, what his interests are. And we also include pictures of things that he likes to do, so that's always helpful, especially if you have new teachers or new therapists that are working with him. Another thing that I always love to do is take someone with me, whether that be my husband or a friend or a private therapist, just to kind of help me through that meeting. And sometimes they hear things that I don't necessarily hear because I'm a little bit more emotionally involved in that. Those are my 3 suggestions for preparing for and developing your child's IEP.
One of the most important things that I had to learn when my daughter was going into the public school was when they told me she would ride the school bus. Oh, I went into anxiety overload. And I made myself step back and think about my other 2 kids. I remember when they were younger and they would see the school bus and they wanted to ride that school bus. Why wouldn't my daughter with disabilities, why wouldn't Kayla want to ride the bus just like all the other kids? So I told the school, I said, what about she's not going to sit still, because in a car she's buckled. And then they told me about this vest seatbelt that they had. And they showed it to me and I thought, oh, that will do it, that will work. I went to the school and said, what about if she goes into adrenal crisis? And the school said, well, what if we let one of her paras, one of the teacher's aides from our class, ride home with her? Because that para is going to be trained on her medical condition. So all the things I had concerns about, I told the school, and they helped me work through those. So Kayla got to ride the bus. It was a good day for me.